AI is transforming the way we are working in our business, but it's not all been plain sailing. We've had many challenges along the way and many areas where we've tried to use AI to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of processes. It's actually ended up taking far longer than we expected, and in some cases, it's meaning the task is taking longer than it did before. We had a huge mindset shift or a huge realization in our daily stand-up today that made me see one of the biggest challenges I wasn't aware of, a blind spot, both for myself, but also for my staff, that was preventing us from getting the true value we can from AI. Today, I want to share what that mindset shift was and how it may be the bottleneck that's stopping you from getting the full benefits as quickly as you would like from adopting AI by both yourself and your team. And if you like this episode, please remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes on how to live with more presence, more purpose, and more freedom, and to make your business run more smoothly with or without you. So the question is this: how do entrepreneurs like us who don't have an endless supply of cash, how do we leverage the best apps, virtual assistants, automation tools and systems to scale our businesses, increase our profits and have more time to do what we love to do each day? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name's Dr. Steve Day and this is Systemize Your Success. Okay, so in our daily stand today, we were talking about an AI GPT that we're creating. And this particular one was about doing the titles for this particular podcast. This is something that we have worked on for a long time, along with how we write our emails, how we write our show notes, how we edit our transcripts, all this kind of things. We're now adopting AI to massively improve the process. Well, that was the intention anyway. But when I recently reviewed the timesheet of the staff member who is actually responsible for doing all of that, so basically she does all the copywriting for the entire podcast production and the promotion, and she's been now using AI for well over a year with intention, in my mind, to massively reduce the time taken to actually produce all of this content. The reality has been different. The reality has been that it's not really affected the time because she spent a lot of time building these GPTs, of testing them, of tweaking them, of improving them, and just continually working on them. So all the time that may have been saved on actually doing the work in itself, so she was just physically or manually creating this copy or whatever, that's actually all been eaten up by the development side of the AI. And I'd hope by now it would have improved. But it actually hasn't. And today we had a big realization about what I believe one of the hugest bottlenecks in the gaining or experiencing the benefits of applying AI to a process that I was completely blind to. I realized in this conversation with my marketing assistant that I've actually been guilty of this as well. And let me explain exactly what I'm talking about. So when my marketing assistant has been looking at using AI. She is just to put in context, she's the kind of person who is incredibly conscientious. She really cares about her work. She spends time in reviewing things. She's got that incredible attention to detail, but she also means that she takes time over doing her work. Now, I'm all for that. I'd much rather this work being done well and properly than just rushed out and it being a complete mess. However, there's got to be a balance. And in this particular case, what was happening was the same issue or the same challenge I see so often when delegating to staff. And the realization I had, the mindset shift I have was when we're creating AI agents to do work, it's just the same as delegating. And the same fears, the same reservations, the same micromanagement behaviours can actually get into play here and mean we don't get the benefit. So just like when you hire a new employee and you haven't built up a lot of trust with them, you don't know how good they are, it can be hard just to delegate work and hope for the best. You can do your best and try and delegate well, and you can try and give good instructions. But ultimately, this is someone you don't know well. You haven't got that that level of trust that they're going to basically do their best and fix problems if they occur, etc. So you might be inclined to start micromanaging, looking over their shoulder, checking in all the time, reviewing all of their work. So when you actually hire this person to delegate work to free your time, what you end up doing is actually doubling your work. Not only have you got to delegate the work and you're managing a person, you're now reviewing all the work they're doing as well. It can end up taking more time than it would have just taken to do it yourself, and you can start feeling like it really wasn't worth the effort. The same issue I've seen with myself, and in this case with my marketing assistant, is happening with AI. The problem is that my marketing system doesn't trust the AI. So what I found was when I spoke to her in detail about why is it taking so long still to do this stuff? I thought we'd built these GPTs. I thought they were working okay. And the problem was that she was, using the GPT to help her do the work. And then she was basically doing all the same work she'd done previously to make sure that she agreed with what the GPT had created. Now, in the development stage, like with a training stage of a brand new employee, there's an argument to say, maybe, checking some things and making sure it's generally aligned and making sure the standards are okay. Of course, that's going to be important. We don't want to just sort of abdicate responsibility and hope for the best. We want to be monitoring what is the output this person, or in this case, this AI is producing. But if we run the risk that if we don't let go, if we don't actually trust the thing that we've created or the person that we're delegating to, then we end up in that trap of actually taking more of our time rather than the objective, which is to free our time. And that is exactly what happened here. So the conversation we had today was about, okay, well, what would happen if you just didn't do any checking? If you just trusted exactly what it produced without going in and looking, in this case, listening to the podcast herself, understanding what the topics are about, the main points, the salient stuff that we don't want to miss, making sure that the AI has picked up on all these nuances, all the stuff that could so easily be missed. I said to her, well, what would happen if you just didn't do any of that? If you just trusted what it actually came out with. And this is exactly the same psychology or mindset that's needed when you are delegating to somebody else, is that you've just got to let them get on with it. You've got to let them make their own mistakes and then pick up on those mistakes, give feedback, and then coach them on improving them if they can't fix it themselves. And that's the approach that I've been taking recently with AI and seeing massive leaps in how quickly I'm getting stuff out there, getting it tested, seeing the result, and then going into an iterative, process improvement exercise and giving it feedback just like I would a human. So that was the advice that I gave to my marketing assistant today, is just go with it. Monitor the metrics, see what the outcome is. Whatever it is we're doing, whether it's creating copy for marketing, then we can monitor the metrics. We can see, does it affect our open rates? Does it affect our click-through rates? Does it affect our reach or our traffic to our site? We've got real data we can actually monitor to say, is the AI doing a good job? Our opinion may be wrong. And the same way with hiring an employee, our opinion about the work that's produced may actually be wrong. It could be just subjective. And actually the results that you're going to get, or the results you get as a result of whatever work is produced, that's what's important. So letting go of this need to actually have your finger in every pie, of actually micromanaging everything, of being the one that makes the final decision on everything, can be hugely liberating for us as managers and business owners. And you never know, we might actually end up with work being done getting a better result than if we did get involved and waste our time tweaking and basically meddling with something that didn't actually need to be fixed. So the challenge for my marketing assistant that I've set to this week is that she's not allowed to review anything that the AI does. She's simply just got to trust what she's already set up. She's already tested it. She's been through. She's seen some work in the past that it's done and it's been okay, whatever. She's just now got to let go. She's got to delegate properly and let the AI do its thing. Then we will then see what the results are. If the results show that this is a catastrophe and our open rates of our emails just plummet through the floor, or the traffic on our site goes down, or downloads suddenly drop off, of course we're going to jump in and actually fix it, just like you would with a human. But if it's just small little errors, things that pick up that actually we think, well, actually, does it really matter? Then maybe we'll just let it run. Or maybe we'll give feedback just like we would to a human. We'll explain what we expected. We explain the issue we've had, and we'll ask the AI to actually improve itself, just like you would a human. And this treating the AI as a human in this context, it sounds a bit weird, but actually, from my experience over the past few months of adopting this behavior with how I'm developing my GPTs for all the different areas of our business, this is what I'm seeing of getting really big results. It's doing the initial work, setting it up just like you would when you bring someone new in, you train them up, you give them their basic training, you delegate the tasks, you give them their training videos, their operation minds, whatever they need, and then you let them get on with it and see if they sink or swim. And if they swim, brilliant, then you're on to a winner. If they sink, you can give them support and coaching, and if they're no good, you basically let them go, just like you do with an AI agent. Like this morning, I woke up super early because I was a bit excited about this because I'm a bit of a geek. And so we've got this, we've created an AI agent, or I've created an AI agent that, sorry, not an agent, a GPT. A GPT that basically writes all of our operation manuals for us. So we have a process called Didact, which I've mentioned many times in the podcast, and it's a method or framework for creating super efficient operation manuals. And we also have a framework for checklists as well, for making effective checklists. And what I've done is to train this AI GPT to take a raw video of someone doing a task, narrating it through, stick the transcript in, and it produces this totally standardized, formatted, what I call the Didact operation manual, which captures everything needed to both delegate and do the task first time and every time. Now, it's been okay. It's been getting okay results for us. It's a bit clunky. Sometimes get things wrong. We got some feedback from clients that have been using it, same issues that we're facing. But what I didn't do was spend weeks and weeks developing it until I let it out into the world. And so we started using it. I actually created something, relatively quickly, got it out there, and then a few weeks later, we're then reviewing the results of that work. So I'm looking at the metrics that I've got. And in this case, it's my own experience, my staff's experience, and my client's experience. I then woke up this morning, as I said, had an idea, and basically, like I just said, I sacked the old GPT. I literally just deleted it, just like you would if you sack a member of staff. A member of staff is not working out after the first few weeks. Then, despite you actually supporting them, giving them coaching, that's the time to let go. Actually, I just talked about this in the previous episode when I actually hired somebody that wasn't suitable for the role, and I decided to let them go. And actually, it felt good to let them go because it didn't leave any bitterness in me that I'd hired the wrong person. I was supporting them too far, and actually, it was inspiring to see their reaction, which was actually they were motivated to go away and learn more to be able to actually come back, hopefully, and do the role in the future. So we'll see if that happens, but that would be a brilliant outcome. In this case, anyway. With the AI, with the GPT that I've created, I basically sacked the old one and said, "You're no good. I've given you enough time and effort, so we're going to hire somebody new." In this case, it was actually just create a new GPT to solve this problem. With all of the learning I've got from that one not working, of all the mistakes I made with how I set it up. Just like when you hire somebody that's wrong, you learn what was wrong about them. You then, when you next hire for the role, you've got a better understanding of who you need in the role. I had a better understanding now of how to develop this GPT. So within a couple of hours, actually probably about 4 hours, in fact, of messing around and getting it working, I'd actually created from scratch a new GPT, far simpler, far more focused, and it did the job way, way better and quicker than the old version. And so far, it works really, really well. Again, I've not gone and spent hours and hours testing and retesting and monitoring it and reviewing everything. I've gone, yep, that's good enough. I believe it works. So hiring a new person, I believe they're going to get on with it. For that analogy, I've then put it out into the world. I've shared it with our clients. I've shared it with my staff. We're then going to monitor how it performs. I'm going to give it feedback, just like I did in the testing stages when I was just initially building it. I gave it some test data, saw the results, and gave it feedback until it actually tweaked to it actually gets pretty consistent, good results. So we're going to go forward. We're going to continue doing that. I'm going to be monitoring the results, the metrics that we get from it. I'm going to then be feeding that back in if there's any tweaks that are going to be needed. And this will be a continual iterative improvement going forward. Doing it this way, getting stuff out there and actually monitoring and actually tweaking as we go forward, is, I believe, a way of then not getting involved with, as I say, like micromanaging the agents or the chat GPTs, just in the same way as you shouldn't micromanage your staff. You've got to let them sink or swim. They're either going to get it right or they're not. The only difference here is we're more in control of the initial setup of the thing. But once it's there, we've got to just let it go, in my opinion, and let it actually figure stuff out with the feedback that we can give it continually to see if it can improve. So that's it. That was my massive mindset shift that I believe it will hugely reduce the amount of time taken for our staff to start adopting AI. This understanding that we've got to treat it like a new employee. We've got to give it the support in the beginning. We've got to give it the training in the beginning. And then we've got to let it go and see the actual results, the metrics, that what we can measure to see if this is actually doing the job as good or better than we did previously. And if not, then we can do some feedback or whatever, or improve it. And if it still completely fails and we're like, it's just a disaster, of course, we can sack it and start again, or not hire into that position, or not build a new AI if we think actually this was an inappropriate use of AI, or, in the same way, if an inappropriate hire, then we don't actually waste our time doing it because we learned the lessons that actually, okay, maybe this wasn't the best use of our time right now because the cost versus benefits, aren't really there. So if you found this useful, please do comment if you're watching on social media. Let me know your thoughts. How are you adopting AI? What challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them? If you have found this useful, please remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes, and share this with anyone you know that you think would like to learn how to do more wonderful things to make yourself live with more purpose, presence, and freedom in the world and create a business that runs with or without you. Take care. Thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye.